Just
Oh, we gotta loosen up. Hold
it's
on.
my physical.
Shake it out.
And squeeze those buns, girls.
All right. Give me a me, 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 me.
Me, 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 me.
Louder. Let it go. Like, let that shit go.
Me, 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 me.
Perfect. A little lower. Okay, perfect. All right, everybody. We're back for another reaction video. We are a vegan couple. My name is Brandon. I am the owner of this channel, Logical Consistency.
And I'm Julia, and I'm vegan. I'm Brandon's fiance.
And we're going to react to another video today. It's 555 days of meat only. Was it worth it? ... Shocking carnivore diet results. This is by Kent Carnivore. So we're going to see what his totally scientific results are after going on the carnivore diet.
Cool.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
55 days. No vegetables, fruits, no grains, nuts, seeds, legumes, salads, sauces, just fatty cuts of red meat, some eggs, occasionally some seafood, and a little bit of raw dairy here and there. So, was it worth it? Honestly, it's the best decision I've ever made in my life. I'm not depressed anymore. I don't have to.
I like how, I don't know when this raw dairy thing started getting mixed in, but I really am unhappy about it just from like a human safety. Forget about animal rights for a second. It was bad enough going carnivore with like just dairy in general, but now we're just all of a sudden every carnivore person is doing raw dairy. I don't know when that started.
Yeah, I feel like I wonder if people just like the like rush of this. You know what I mean? They're like, no, I don't want dairy. I want raw dairy.
Well, the thing about it is the placebo effect is still, like I think people forget that placebo effect is a thing. Like any type of diet can have exaggerated results to the individual based on like what's it called? Based on expectations you have beforehand,
Right.
based on a lot of different factors.
Right. And like the like rush of this, like the high of like, I don't know, just being like, carnivore, you know? Like his name is Kent Carnivore. What's your name on YouTube?
Logical consistency.
Right.
That's a gotcha if I've ever heard one. But what's interesting is like almost every vegan channel talks about the morality behind the decisions, thinking about like trying to think outside of ourselves and
Right.
focus on the victim in animal agriculture.
Right.
Every single carnivore video was about diet. It's about how much weight did I lose? How do I
Yeah.
feel? Right? And it's not always about you. Like it's not just about you, right? I could go on a diet of eating nothing but baby fetuses and I could maybe feel 20 times better. That doesn't mean that I'm going to start going around killing baby fetuses to consume their flesh. Like some things we don't actually have to try. We could try and find a solution otherwise.
Yeah, I would call the carnivore diet the me diet.
That's good. That's very good.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what he has to say.
Deal with acid reflux daily.
I had chronic acid reflux. That's gone, deceased.
All my skin conditions have improved. Less wax in my ears, less plaque on my teeth. My energy's way up. My sleep's improved. I get up easy in the mornings. And I've gained control of both my health and my moods for the first time in my adult life. So before I set out on this whole journey, usually in the mornings I would have things like grains with almond milk and fruit. Come lunchtime I would have like a chicken salad sandwich or a tuna salad sandwich. And then dinner time it would be more grains, rice, pasta, lean meats, occasionally some minced meat, ground beef, but mostly things like chicken and cod and stuff like that, very lean animal products, and then accompany that with vegetables and sauce. And despite that sounding like a reasonably well-balanced diet, it clearly didn't work because I was miserable. I didn't realise how much lethargy I had. I didn't realise how much brain fog I had. This is the interesting thing about the diet, is that not only did I address and cure my depression, like that completely lifted in 3 weeks.
This is hard not to share, and I'm going to try and do it without sounding preachy. My depression is gone, okay? I don't feel like I have the same kind of mental fog or mental health problems. I just have better mental clarity.
This is what I'm talking about, like the rush. Like I swear people get on this rush of like such an extreme diet that I almost feel like they have something to hyper focus on that they're not feeling or focusing so much on these other, they're like, it's very tunnel visioned, right? So like, I feel like he went into this thinking that was going to happen. And so like a placebo effect.
Yeah, no, the thing is, right, first off, I don't know if he's clinically diagnosed with depression, right? There's a difference between, like kind of casually saying you're depressed, oh, I'm struggling with symptoms of depression, or I'm feeling down, and being clinically diagnosed, right? If he's clinically diagnosed and he's saying he got rid of his depression in 3 weeks just by eating nothing but meat, that's gonna be placebo. Like, there's just no studies on that. There's no research showing that if you take out all of the vegetables and plant foods that have been shown to actually lead to better health outcomes, that all of a sudden you're not going to be depressed. That doesn't make any sense. But it's also a very dangerous thing to do, to consume a diet of nothing but murdered and abused animal flesh, and then claim that you have rid yourself of depression, or your mental health is like totally smoothed over after your whole life of struggling with mental health. Like, all of these carnivore, a lot of these carnivore stories, they just don't add up. Also, do you have something to say? Go.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like that language is like, when you have clinical diagnoses, I'll speak for myself, right? I would never say anything is cured. You learn to work with those things.
Yeah, the symptoms are recessed, or like they're
You learn
they're
like
manageable, or
right.
something.
You learn how to manage them, but you don't like.
It's that kind of
It's
like
not curable.
fanatical language, or like that exaggerated language, like my depression is cured.
Right.
Like bullshit. And
After 3 weeks.
And that's the one thing is, at least with veganism, you're not like, we'll talk about the health claims that are backed by scientific studies, but maybe look, there are some crazy not vegans, but like plant-based diet advocates who really do make some crazy claims. But for the most part, switching from an omnivorous diet to a plant-based diet, you're going to more or less feel the same. You might have better health outcomes long-term because of low saturated fat, high fiber, more plant content, but it's not some crazy transformation.
Right.
You're not going to get rid of your depression and get rid of your, all the struggles you've ever had in your life. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I would say that's a red flag. Anything that tells you that it cures something, like I would never say, oh, veganism cured every problem I ever had.
Right.
It's not. It's not.
It's not how that works.
It's not magic.
Right. And again, that sounds more like a placebo effect. Also, when he was saying what he was eating, here's the other thing I find very tough, because a lot of people who went carnivore, they come from eating the standard American diet. So they're eating processed junk food, processed meats, ice creams, really unhealthy stuff. They're usually pretty overweight. And then they go do a carnivore diet, they lose 50 pounds, 100 pounds, and they feel better, right? Because it's an elimination diet. You're getting rid of all the other junk. So that makes sense. But this guy, so he's pretty lean already. I don't know if he's lost a lot of weight. Maybe we'll find out. But he's pretty lean. When he describes what he was eating, he's eating what sounds like to me mostly plants. So whole food plants, like grains. He said, like, what do you say? Like cereals, fruits, nuts, seeds, like pretty much everything you should be eating. Some lean meats, he mentioned, like tuna or chicken or whatever he said. And that somehow is leading him down a path of depression and horrible health consequences.
Yeah.
If we look at all of the people that are struggling with chronic diseases in America, it's not people eating whole grains and lean meats. It's people eating processed food, caloric surplus. They're in a caloric surplus. They're eating junk food, sweets, Coke, etc. So that's another thing. Like, that sounds like BS. And again, I'm maybe that's what he was eating. Again, it's hard to know, but that just doesn't sound right. That just doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. So let's see what his other results were.
Unnecessary suffering has lifted. It's crazy.
But a whole host of other benefits just seem to become apparent. So it was mid-July of 2022 when I decided to...
Really quick, sorry. Speaking of unnecessary suffering, what about the animals that he's literally paying to be murdered just for his depressive symptoms to be lifted?
Well, it's the me.
Right, the me diet.
diet.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. It's not the meat-only diet. It's the me-only diet.
To set myself a 30-day challenge, the BBBE challenge. So beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. The first 2 weeks, no doubt, were the hardest. I think because it was brand new. I wasn't used to consuming these types of foods exclusively. Getting enough fat in was difficult. And obviously just intense cravings for different sweet-like flavors and carbohydrates. Going into that third week, that's when things started to turn around. And honestly, at the end of week 3, bang, my depression had gone. My energy
You know, before people make such a drastic change, did he have any testing done?
Right.
Like, did he get his
Like,
did
was
he
he
get any
clinically
levels checked? Like, yeah, like did he? Yeah,
He
was
might
he
have been deficient in
clinically
something,
diagnosed with anything? First of all, yeah, and then did he get some testing done to see maybe if he was deficient in something, needed to add something to his diet or.
Whenever you're going off of self-experimentation, it's never going to be reliable, right? Anecdotes and personal experiences are the least reliable form of scientific evidence for a reason. It's because people can interpret and feel things that aren't really there, right? You have anecdotes of people swearing that the prayers they made worked, right? Without any actual proof. And you know, it's hard to say if they did or they didn't work for everyone religious out there, but we just can't go off of that when we're talking about what to like regulate and what to recommend on like a global scale for healthy eating or for, you know what I mean? Like you've got to go off of things that are testable in the science, right? Things that are trackable, things that are peer reviewed. And again, this guy could have said that he went carnivore and now he thinks his fucking dick grew 3 inches, right? And there's no way to I mean, well, that one's more verifiable, but you know what I mean? The point is like people can say something did anything. It's not really reliable.
Right.
energy was way up.
I have more energy in the morning. I wake up very easily. I'm more tired at night.
So many improvements, and it's just like everything aligned.
I don't burn in the sun. I don't sweat. I know this sounds crazy. I can attribute that to restricting omega-6 out of the diet. That's why that.
Okay, see, this is where it's just getting... Okay, he doesn't burn in the sun, and he doesn't sweat now. So eating nothing but meat, even though I know I've heard meat sweats are a thing.
Yeah.
So at least I know a lot of people talk about meat sweats.
Yeah.
But, so since he's eaten beef, what is it? Beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. Since that's what he's been eating, doesn't sweat and doesn't burn in the sun. UV radiation has no effect on his skin. Can we, if this is true, can some scientists study this man, please? Like, could we, I would love to see, I would personally, well, I don't know if I do that, but I would love to see some actual tests on carnivore diet, some actual clinical
Yeah, there
trials.
should be like carnivore mythbusters where they like look into the stuff because like he's not giving any kind of connection to anything. Like again, he didn't get the testing done before he changed his diet, so we don't.
He didn't even do a self-test. Like, it's one thing if he was tracking certain things, like, I stayed in the sun for 5 minutes and I got no burn. You know, he's just kind of just saying things. Now, maybe he'll show us. Maybe he did. Who knows?
Right. But. Okay.
That's why that happens. No plaque on my teeth, no wax in my ears. Everything that these people are documenting that happens when you go on a carnivore diet, it's true. So,
And since that time, I've
but that's what we just said. He said everything that people have said is true, right? It seems like when you go into something with certain expectations, right? So like if I see, let's say everybody in the gym is taking sugar pills and they're taking the sugar pills and they're saying, oh dude, when I take these pills, you get jacked, you put on 10 pounds of muscle. My brain is going to interpret any gains that after, if I take the pill, any gains that I achieve after those pills, I'm going to attribute to the pills just because I'm already expecting that, right? This is classic placebo.
Had any symptoms of depression and things have only actually gotten better. So I don't get any cravings anymore, where it took me maybe about 4 months to completely rid all of the cravings. I was still thinking about bread. I was still thinking about pasta.
And I really love pasta and I really love pizza, man. Yeah.
Woo! But now I couldn't care less. In fact, I look at that stuff like, what the hell is that? What on earth is that stuff? Poison. So I've mostly been consuming beef.
I look at pasta like, oh, poison.
Right.
This is what I'm eating.
This.
Oh God, that fat is just so nourishing to the soul, not to the heart, but to the soul.
Right.
Like again, it's easy to be disconnected, but this is, I don't know what most cuts of meat are. I think they're like some of it is glute, a lot of it's like leg, I think. So this is like someone's ass meat, essentially, like a cow's ass meat. I don't want to eat that. Who would want to eat that?
Right.
Just prefer the way it tastes. I prefer the fat. I love ribeyes. I love sirloin steaks. Short ribs are one of my favourites, and actually right up there would be oxtail. I get it as much as I can. And I also include things like bone marrow, add butter, just to increase fat if necessary. Whole eggs are very easy, convenient and cheap. So it's just a nice, affordable way to get you to satiety. So if you've got a small amount of meat, you can just add eggs until you're full, and that's perfectly fine. You can pretty much live on eggs. And then once a week on a Friday, I take myself down to...
Something is feeling like cannibalism here, right?
That's what it feels. No, that's what
feels like
a lot
it,
of these
right?
carnivores, they're like, you see this like crazy meat hungry look in their eye.
Yeah, it's like a control or like a dominance thing almost. I'm feeling like
And also, you can't live off of eggs. No, please show me one study that supports healthy long-term lives off of just eggs. He's like, you can practically live off of eggs. Not really. I think like one egg has about the maximum limit you should be having of dietary cholesterol. I've seen carnivores eat like 10 eggs a day.
Yeah. I would like to see carnivores that have been on a carnivore diet for a while get some testing done. And I would like to see their tests.
No. Carnivores release their blood results. And guess what? Their cholesterol is
high?
through the roof.
Yeah, I'm not shocked.
Their LDL cholesterol is like twice as high as it should be, if not more.
Yeah, but they're not
But
sweating.
they don't believe. No, they think that the LDL myth, it's all myth.
But they don't
they don't sweat.
They don't need sunscreen anymore.
They don't need sunscreen. They don't sweat, and they're happier than you. They're happier than you.
But they might die from a heart attack at 55.
Bunch of depressed vegans.
The Chart Farm, which is just down the road from here, and I'll buy a little bit of seafood, usually wild mackerel. And the reason for that is, first of all, I think it's one of the healthiest, safest options in terms of seafood. It's wild, it's healthier than farmed. It's a smaller, oily fish, so not too high in heavy metals or anything like that. You've got high levels of D3, K2, and you've got a lot of DHA, and I believe that DHA is very, very important. And I just like to mix it up as well. If you're one of those people that are happy to consume ground beef and eggs every day, the same way, at the same time, that's great. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You can be very, very healthy, and you don't need or require variety or to try and, find different cuts and things like that.
Where are you getting that claim? If you're one of those people that could eat, beef and eggs every day and that's it, that's fine. You could be very, very healthy eating just beef and eggs. Show me one study. Something besides some guy said it on the internet. Show me one study that you could eat nothing but beef and eggs and you'll be top notch.
Guys, this is just a bunch of body parts.
It's just a bunch of body parts. Also, the sausages, first of all.
Like ribs.
Sausages are processed meats. That's a class 1 carcinogen. It's a bunch of random body parts shoved into a intestinal casing, spiced up to kind of make it taste a little better.
Do you know if I bet if human meat was in one of these bins,
wouldn't even know.
No one
Couldn't
would
even
know.
Dude, yes. Like if somebody
know.
mixed in like a human steak in there, you would know because it's very, very, very similar. It's just flesh. It's body parts. Oh, sorry. Somebody corrected me in the comments last time. It's not flesh. It's the muscle. My bad. As if muscle isn't flesh. Yeah, sorry. It's muscle.
Okay.
It's not necessarily needed. I don't take any medications. I personally don't take any supplements either, including electrolytes. Even though not having a colon actually puts me at a higher risk of regulating electrolytes, I don't really seem to have any issues just consuming red meat.
No, he didn't have a colon.
Add high quality salt to taste and then drink water when I'm thirsty. That's it. I seem to do just fine. I don't really get any of those cramp-like symptoms or fatigue. I don't really seem to suffer, so I just keep it simple. I realise there's a lot of concerns about lack of nutrients like vitamin C in red meat, perhaps even fibre. Firstly, vitamin C is present within red meat and other animal products. Yes, it's very low, but when you're not consuming carbohydrates or any substrates that are metabolized as glucose, you're not having to seek so much vitamin C in your foods. And the reason why that is because molecularly, vitamin C and glucose are very, very similar. So they compete for absorption. When you take the carbohydrates out of the diet, you're absorbing all of the vitamin C that's found in meat. And that meat.
See, I've heard this. People keep saying that in the comments. I've heard this, but no one has actually provided a study or anything supporting this. Like I know they're saying it, and they put up a little graph right there with vitamin C and glucose, and like it's supposed to like be supportive. But I'm just curious if he put any studies. No, okay, of course not. Yep. So if somebody can send me a study on this whole glucose, like carbohydrate, vitamin C thing, because people did get scurvy once upon a time from lack of vitamin C, right? So I would like to know if that's true. If people can just eat red meat and get enough vitamin C. I haven't seen any studies. Nobody's linked it. So if somebody could link that, please, I would love to see it.
Yeah, I'm not just going by the Kent study.
I'm not just going by the Kent carnivore graph.
Meets all of our needs. I don't have scurvy, so I have no vitamin C deficiency, nor does any other carnivore on the planet. In terms of fibre, fibre is not essential. You absolutely do not need to consume any fibre whatsoever to open your bowels. That's an absolute myth. The best thing about the carnivore diet, for me, this beautiful way of life, not only did it cure my depression and multiple other ailments, but it just simplified my life. And so I spend very little time in my days thinking about food, in the kitchen, prepping meals for work, none of that. I basically know what I'm going to eat. I spend very little time going shopping. It's really, really easy. And I come home and I take my meat out, I sit it there, and it can mind its own business for a few hours. It's not really in my mind. When I finally get hungry, I'm in the kitchen for like 20 minutes maybe, and then I'm done.
Barehanded it.
I don't have to prep lunches for work because I'm not eating any food when I'm at work. I've got so much energy, I don't require a lunch. In the very beginning, it's totally different because you're switching from a carbohydrate-heavy diet to a diet devoid of carbs and high in fats and proteins. And so you typically get cravings. You're going to feel hungry quite frequently. I was easily eating 3 meals a day, where after a couple of months, I was eating more like
bare-handed the meat. I like how he has like the deer antlers in the background.
I was just gonna say.
Like he's like, yep, I'm officially a man after this 555 days.
He like wants, when you walk in, to be like, oh, are you carnivore?
When you're sitting there eating beef with your bare hands and you've got a cow on your pillow and you've got deer antlers to the corner of the room and on your nightstand and right behind you, I mean, it's cringe. It's too much. It's too much dead animal memorabilia. We get it. You're eating beef with your bare hands. We get it, bro. You love fucking killing animals.
2 meals a day and occasionally snack. And then after that, I was playing with 1 meal a day and would go back and forth. I wasn't quite there yet. But now I only eat once a day, maybe twice a day, once a week. What's happened for me is that over time, it's been well over 18 months now, I have reduced the frequency and increased the amount that I'm eating in one sitting. And that works really, really well for me. Again, it just simplifies life. And so at this point, I'm not thinking about breakfast, lunch and dinner. I'm not even thinking about, I have to have breakfast to go to work. No, I don't even bother with breakfast. Maybe once every 2 weeks, I'll have a breakfast. Usually I'll come home and have a decent meal that sees me through. And by the time I wake up, I'm still full, I'm still nutrified, and I've got what feels like all the energy in the world. And I actually feel better when I go to work on an empty stomach. I'm still running.
He's demonstrating how physically vigorous he's just showing us that, like, guys, I don't just sit at a desk all day. I'm like cleaning windows, moving my body.
Right.
So this steak is like empowering me to have more energy.
So I was just going to say, I feel like he was looking for a purpose. And I feel like this diet gave him that purpose in a way, or a purpose. And I feel like you can find the same thing with veganism.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what carnivores say about vegans. Oh, they're just looking for a community to belong to.
Right.
It's like, here's the thing. For me, that wasn't it. For me, I went with the science and the most compelling argument. But let's just say you guys don't believe me, and let's say there are a lot of vegans who do gravitate towards the community. Why not go towards a community that causes less harm,
Right.
is trying to eliminate animal exploitation, and has definitely more science supporting it? Why not go towards that community if you need that connection?
On the meal from the day before. But that's how I like to function. And like I say, it's just so simple when you live your life that way. Only get up, wash, put clothes on, and leave the house. It's life-changing, and I can't unfeel what I feel now. There's no way I could go back. It's a night and day difference between both lifestyles. I feel like I've been reborn.
Not having depression.
Back then, when I was eating all the healthy foods and all the balanced diet foods,
Lobster.
I was
Why are you putting that in
miserable
quotes?
and weak, and my moods would go up and down. I couldn't control how I felt and my emotions, and it was kind of pathetic, honestly. I thought there was something really, really wrong with me, and I mean there was, but who knew that those problems were triggered with foods, so-called healthy foods as well. Sure, I had industrial seed oils in the diet. Sure, I did have dessert after my dinner, but I feel like the majority of people that try to be healthy, they have a mixture of foods, the grains, the fruits, the vegetables, the different meats and fish, and they season it, and they have all these herbs and spices, they have teas, coffees, treat yourself to a dessert every now and again, and they're fine. Well, I'm obviously a sensitive person with my health, and there are many, many people out there who are struggling with all kinds of ailments that this diet, this beautiful way of life, can address meaningfully.
The only problem with that claim, right, is like, yes, people are different. Yes, people have different, maybe, different foods that sit well with them and other foods that don't. The only problem with that claim is, if that were true, when we track populations that eat more plants, when we do cohorts, or when we look at the epidemiology, or when we do food frequency questionnaires, or anything that's tracking people and how they ate, we would see a higher prevalence of the issues he's talking about, right? You would expect to see that. You would see people that eat meat have a higher prevalence of, less mental health issues, no burning in the sun, no sweating, better health outcomes long term, and then people who eat plants would be depressed, they'd have mood swings. You'd see that, right, if this was reliable, if this was consistent with the evidence. But it's not.
Right.
It just isn't, right? When we track populations that eat predominantly plant-based, we see better health outcomes, right? Less chronic disease, less all-cause mortality risk, less risk of cancers. And that's significantly more reliable than just an individual anecdote.
Yeah, well, I feel like there's this trend of like everything being a conspiracy. So like people are no longer are interested in what like the data shows, which is interesting. And I feel like it's people wanting to feel autonomous with their bodies and their choices. But again, people study things like this for a reason, right? Because they're looking for optimal health. They're looking to decrease heart disease. Because there's a lot of people dying from these things, right? So like, I just don't know why we're just abandoning data.
Yeah, the conspiracy that everybody working for like the nutritional expert community, they're all working to try and make you sick. I mean, that's an interesting conspiracy, but I'm just not buying it, and I don't know why you would either.
And you can just read this, like you can read studies.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not like they just present results without showing, like they have to,
Right.
they legally have to
document
show
all of the results of
documentation of
studies.
everything from start to finish.
And you can still not believe it, but you are standing on very like thin ice. If you really have no ground to stand on. I don't get it. But let's see what he's got to say to wrap it up. We'll see.
You are one of those people that have some GERD. If you have depression or anxiety, you might just struggle to get up in the morning and you're always lethargic. You might have psoriasis, arthritis, joint issues, struggling to go upstairs, swollen ankles, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, type 1 diabetes. Every single one of these problems can at least vastly improve on a pure carnivore diet.
That doesn't... Okay, show me a study that says that a whole food plant-based diet can't also improve those symptoms. That's number one, right? Now, if you're just saying that a carnivore diet can do it too, I mean, again, it's not verified, there's no studies. But even if that's the case, right, let's grant that for a second. Why would you choose the diet that relies on killing animals, killing sentient animals that don't want to die, right? Why would you choose that diet of exploitation, murder, abuse, rights violations, etc., when you can get a similar result, if not even better result, based on the research, right? I'm granting it in this hypothetical with a carnivore, but why would you not choose the plant-based diet?
Yeah. I think this is really dangerous.
It's super dangerous. It's really misinformative.
Yeah, like saying diabetes and...
You can get rid of all of your ailments by eating nothing but meat. Show me a study. Show me a study that either shows that plant-based diets exacerbate those symptoms, make those symptoms worse, or show me a study that shows that carnivore diet reliably reduces the symptoms of those diseases.
Yeah, I've just got some questions for him.
Ken Carnivore, if you see this, my fiance has some questions for you.
I have some questions for you. I need to ask about this depression. Like, again, I'm just, like, for me, knowing how dangerous depression can be, I would never say something cured depression.
Right.
So I don't know if I would just like, I need some more information.
I'd keep it a little tighter around the house, Ken. All right? keep it tight in there. Just careful what slips out, if you know what I'm saying. Also, one last thing here. It's not all about the me, right? It's not all about the me-only diet. Because, again, let's say me killing my fiance and eating her blood would cure all of my ailments, right? Sorry, I don't want to freak everyone out. But let's just say, right, that me, like, drinking the blood of the innocent would, like, cure my ailments.
Right.
I'm just going to try and find another route to cure them. Whether it's medication, whether it's a different diet of plants, right? Not everything we should just take and take and take if it benefits us, even if those things are chronic diseases or mental health.
Right, good point.
Communicate with such a variety of people around the world, different ages, different blood types, different ethnicities, different religious beliefs. It doesn't matter. It seems that humans are designed to eat this stuff. If you're consuming red meat, it's not inflammatory, it's full of all the nutrients you need. And so there's no culprits in the diet. It's not going to aggravate your arthritis, right? It's not going to continue to store oxalates in the system. It's not going to continue to elevate your blood glucose or add fat to your liver, or whatever it might be. So my message is, honestly, if you're struggling, what have you got to lose? Just try it. Set yourself a 6-week challenge. Take 6 weeks building up to that point where you are now carnivore, and then do that for 6 weeks. So you're talking about 3 months where you're starting to change your diet. And I do think that that's long enough. you will get your answer. Most likely you'll be able to come off medications, or at least decrease medications, the frequency, the potency. Your inflammation will come down, and that's what we want.
3 months is not long-term health outcomes, but whatever. Anyway, that was Ken Carnivore, everybody. I don't know how long I'm enjoying the series, but I just don't know how long we could do this. This is just crazy.
I can't believe people are making such ballsy claims out here with no studies
Like
linked.
crazy claims. I don't make claims like that. I don't know if you noticed.
Right, exactly. We would never not involve like
Studies
testing,
or
talking to your doctor.
Yeah. Nothing about mental health. I only go off of what the studies show, which, again, the studies that support long-term health outcomes of plants, I have it all linked on my website. If anything's relevant to this video, I'll link it in the description or any of the other videos. Like, that's just kind of normal, right? You're expected to, like, show support for the claims you're making. But even with all that evidence, I would never say plant-based diets reverse heart disease. Plant-based diets will clear up all your mental health issues.
Right.
That's any type of talk like that is unscientific.
Right.
So, I don't know. Okay. Thank you for watching, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
And we will see you on the next one.